Welcome to Podadelphia. My name is Dave DiOrio. You can find me on Twitter at fat_lobster. And I'm joined by a guy who dupes every day after his first cup of coffee. What's up, Gene?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't feel like I can take on the day without my daily dupe. Um, my name is Gene Zelak. You can find me on Twitter at producer Gene. You can find the show at Podadelphia, and I'm the first one to say that tonight, so I'm super psyched about it. And I am the unofficial Philadelphia Union good luck charm. So put me in bubble wrap, make sure I'm protected, because I'm key to this playoff run.
I love it. I love it. So you were there for both playoff games. Which one was more exciting, Gene? Which one did you do
I
your
mean,
your patented
they
more?
they were both great. I think I had a little more fun at game two, partly because the stakes were higher, and I just happened to have a really great view of that first goal at the end of the half. It happened like literally right in front of me, um, and then you just got to see sort of a masterclass in sports psychology in the penalty kicks. You could literally feel the energy shift after Andre Blake made that first save. There was there was no hope for Nashville after that happened. It was you could literally feel it in the air that they were just done. He was in everyone's head.
Yeah, so let's kind of go through this game because by the time we got to this, we're going to go in like sort of reverse Sunday order. By the time we got to this game, we're coming off of an Eagles defeat at the hands of the lowly New York Giants that basically, kind of set back the playoff timetable. So you're a little bit bummed and you're just hoping like Union, come on, like save our Sunday, give us something to be excited about. And they go down 1-0, right? And then Gazdag, who like that reminds me of like a German death metal band.
Yeah,
I think it's sort of like Danzig-esque. So
he sort of looks
Gazdag
like he played bass for one of those bands too.
gets the equalizer, and then
Mm-hmm.
for me, the game gets weird because Curtin is forced to make an early substitution due to injury and bring
Right.
in Sergio Santos. And this guy just did not have a great day.
No, no, and just backing up a little bit to that goal. Remember this it was fairly late in the first half. It was really like in the stoppage time. And again, my complaint from last week is in the stadium they just stop it at 45, and then you have to sort of set your own timer to have some idea of
Right.
how much stoppage time is there. And we had gone, I think, past what was shown that we were at the minimum. So there was a sort of sense that with that corner kick that this was their last chance, the Union's last chance to sort of get equal before the half. You really didn't want to come into the second half with Nashville sort of having time to regroup themselves and just park the bus, because that was probably what they were going to do. They were just going to drop 10 guys and say, come on through. And in which case, you're going to spend the entire second half chasing the game. They bring in Santos earlier. I think Santos was going to play. I
Sure.
don't think that they intended to bring him in as early as that they did. And Santos seemed to be able to get the jump on and be in the right place throughout, the second half, really. But my God, could he not finish? And
Yeah. Jalen Rager was in the right place yesterday on Sunday too.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I honestly don't know who had a worse day. I think Santos would have really become. It would have been blatantly apparent had the Union not come back to win. Had not won the game.
Mm-hmm.
How bad of a day he really had. But there were at least 4 or 5, maybe, absolutely quality, stunningly quality goal chances that he just didn't put away.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to bury a guy who could have potentially had a hat trick in that game.
Yeah.
Had he converted all of the opportunities that he was given. I mean, you have to be a disruptor to be put yourself in those situations.
Right.
But I mean, dear Lord, we're in the conference semifinals here. You have to put one of those away at the very least, and you're not going to be afforded those opportunities on Sunday, or hopefully the game after that.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's just
it
like a
was sort
really
of,
tough day, and then Curtin puts him into the penalty kick rotation, where just his bad day just continues.
yeah, it was sort of, I don't know that I would have put him in that spot. Maybe Curtin's thought was hopefully just getting the feel of getting it into the net is going to carry over. I know that there's something to be said with that with hockey players. That sometimes you
Yeah,
just
just got to see the ball go in.
once you kind of get one in, they seem to sort of come in bunches.
Yeah, it's basketball too. You got to see the
Yeah,
ball go
you got to
through the
see the
hoop.
ball go through the hoop.
Yeah.
Soccer, I think, is a sort of a different animal. You can have some of the greatest players in the world who never score. Um, they usually don't play forward, but Santos, in a lot of ways, from a you know, purist standpoint, still had a very good game, but um, you know, in that spot, as far as it being the Eastern Conference semifinals, you need to be able to convert when you are afforded those sort of chances in that setting. You can't sort of live on your laurels of, well, I caused a lot of havoc. I got a lot of chances.
Right.
I mean, soccer is the difference is that it's a game of lightning strikes, game over. I didn't want to get to penalty kicks. I hate the idea of it sort of being a coin toss. I don't, I felt like you don't want to. You lose your advantage of being what I thought the team that had the run of play for a lot longer of the game when you go to penalty kicks and you sort of go mano a mano. But I think that one thing maybe that is going to carry over from this game is you're now going to have a goaltender who is going to have a real sense of confidence going into a penalty kick situation, whether it's in the run of play or you get into a situation where you go to kicks again to decide the game. I would much rather have had the experience that Andre Blake had this week going forward than any other sort of situation. It truly was sort of I don't know how else to describe it other than like literally it's like his personality sort of in that bright orange sort of like just radiated across the stadium. From I was on the as far on the opposite side of the stadium as you could be, and he just made the goal look small. You could just sort of see the guys as they came up to take those penalties sort of just I don't know where I'm going to put this that he's not going to be. You could almost
Right.
I was unlike any other sort of live thing I had seen in sports where you could sort of even from that distance sort of almost see the interplay between the two combatants. I've never seen one of those sorts of things live. I've seen them on TV where you've got sort of somebody else's commentary over your own thoughts, but in this sort of situation,
So
um,
they were kicking into the river end, right?
yeah, they were kicking
And
basically
you're
at
in
the
it.
Sons of Ben, and I was on the opposite
Well,
side.
which is what you want,
Mhm.
for sure, what you want.
But I think that's how it works is that you get to there's a toss and you get to decide whether you want which end you want to kick at or if you want to go first.
Okay. Okay. So I guess Nashville elected to kick first.
I think that's how it worked. Is Nashville picked to kick first, and then the Union was like, "Well, then you're going to kick at the Sons of Ben."
Yeah, well, the announcers were saying that it favors the team that kicks first. But if you stop that first kick, I mean, that definitely is a momentum changer. I mean, like, look, Andre Blake is by far the best goaltender in the MLS. Like, it's really not that close. And like, I felt comfortable going to penalty kicks. The thing about the Union is there's not like who's their best player, right? Like, who's their best player? Like, From a goal
there's sort of
score,
a
from
lot
a
of
goal
guys that are
scoring,
really good.
from
I don't
like
know
a
that they've
goal,
got
they
anybody
don't have a
that's great other
star.
than the goaltender.
Yeah, there's no star. I mean, Shabilko,
It was real fun to watch.
Montiero, Santa. Like, who's the best
Santos
player?
is
Like,
fun to
I
watch
don't know.
too. He just didn't
Bedoya. Like,
convert.
so it comes down to, like, you're not going to have that guy that's just going to save you. There's not like, oh, so and so's going to step up in this game and like seize the moment and put the team on their back and win the game. Well, a goaltender did that in that game, and I've never seen a team go to penalty kicks and not make any of them.
Right, that's the thing. I've never seen that either.
And then once he stopped, it's weird because like I was watching an analysis and it was like, well, he kind of caught the first one because it was just kind of like a bad attempt.
Right.
He actually legit stopped the second one.
Right.
And then everyone else was thinking like, I got to be perfect. I got to be perfect. I got to go upper 90.
Right. They've got to go. I've got to put it in a place when he physically can't get to.
Right.
And when once he's in your head and you're trying that hard, they were done. Like I said, they were toast. There was just no way they were going to be. On the other side, you had the Union players coming up and kicking confidently. You had the one guy, and I can't remember who did it, but they did like that sort of that toe drag fake where they come hard
McLean.
And then sort of pivot. You sort of get the goalie moving. And they say that it almost looks like cheating, but it's illegal. You're allowed to do that, but the great goaltenders, they don't bite on that. They don't give you that. They don't give you that much information.
But when you're down 2-0,
yeah,
or was it 1-0 at that point, and they missed the first one. They had missed the second one, so yeah, whatever. But yeah, I was like, is that legal to do that? Well, I guess it is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
I looked it up as soon as I got home. It's within the rules.
Yeah,
as long as you don't touch the ball.
That's an academy boy.
You can sort of do whatever as long as you're behind that invisible line and you don't touch the ball. Once you touch the ball, then
right,
that's your attempt.
Yeah. That's a Union Academy product, right?
Yeah. Homegrown, as they say.
Yeah, so super great. First time making the Eastern Conference Finals since their inception. And we're going to face the winner of this New England Revolution NYCFC game.
Is there a score in that yet?
There is a score, and it is 1-1 in the 87th minute.
Wow.
And both of those goals were scored within the first 10 minutes, and one of them was scored within the first 1 minute.
I mean, there is a very real path right now where the MLS championship the title game has to come through Philadelphia.
Well, you need Real Salt Lake. Is that how it's pronounced? Or is it real?
You need NYCFC
it's not real Salt Lake
to win, and then But yeah, and then you'd have to or you go to New England and win.
Why is it Real?
There's a very real chance that it's not held at like a neutral site. No. Philadelphia would have to travel to Kansas City, but not Real Salt Lake.
Gene, why is it called Real?
I don't know, but that's it's like a soccer thing though, because there's like Real Madrid.
Right? Yeah.
It must mean like club or something.
I'll look that up.
Have to look it up.
All right. Yeah, very. I mean, like honestly, I really
hope
the
MLS that does sort of irritate me, and I think that they need to sort of have a naming convention. It should either be FC or SC. You shouldn't have it both ways. Either we're saying football or we're saying soccer.
Who does SC?
I thought there was an SC at one point. Maybe there isn't. Maybe I'm misspoken. But I know that there are other lower divisions that do use the SC instead of the FC. I'll look it up.
Well,
I'll get back.
America. Yeah. I mean, I really hope NYCFC wins this game because, one, like fuck Boston. Like I don't need any more of that nonsense in my life. Two, they play on a damn turf field and it just looks like a miserable experience up there playing them.
Well, do they play at
It,
Foxborough? Do they play in the same
I don't know.
stadium
I
as
was watching the game. It
the
was definitely
Patriots?
not grass. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
it was definitely some sort of synthetic
Well, and you
turf.
know where NYCFC plays, right?
Well, they play at Yankee Stadium.
And this is something I learned talking to some of the season ticket holders. This is not something that I knew.
Well, they have the golden boot.
NYCFC
They have the
plays
golden
on
boot
the
winner.
smallest allowable pitch. The way that it is configured, it is the
Oh,
absolute smallest allowable dimensions for the pitch that you can possibly have. This affords them some advantage at home. Their home record is much, much better than their away record. It's very lopsided. It seems that when they go away, they just do not adjust well to the larger dimensions. And by the same note, teams coming in struggle with the smaller dimensions. I don't know why that is. It seems like it shouldn't be the case. You should be able to stay with it. I mean, the lines are the lines, and especially within like the the scoring boxes, those are the same. But apparently, it does this. The math bears out that NYCFC is decidedly better at home than they are on the road,
oh, that's interesting. I did not
which
know
would
that.
bode well for the Union since they would host the
But
game
they do
on.
have NYC does have the 2021 Golden Boot winner on their team. So you're either going to face the Supporters Shield winner in the Revolution, or you're going to face the Golden Boot winner at home.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if the Revolution go out here, if there's some discussion about not having such a layoff between the end of the season and when the President Shield, player cup winner or whatever, the Shield winner, plays their playoff game, because this is the same thing that happened to the Union. The Union had basically almost 3 weeks off or 2 weeks off last year before they played their first playoff game.
Right.
And you're playing against a team that probably has got 2 wins under their belt. They've already been playing in this sort of, and I think that there's something to be said that, soccer has a, momentum can within a run of a season, and momentum within a game can play a huge
I
factor
would like to
in
get
how
that
you.
revenge though. That
Mhm.
revenge from our Supporters Shield playoff run when we just lost to the Revolution like right
Yeah,
away.
1-0.
Yeah. So that would be a fun revenge game to go back up there and do it to them. But whatever, it's going to take great effort no matter what happens. Really good season for the
Yeah, I
Union,
feel
and they
like they're
just
sort of playing with house money right now. They seem to be playing sort of loose. They seem to be sort of cohesive. They've got a lot of confidence. I
and
really like
that
their
win
chances.
qualifies them for the Kofefe Cup, right?
Yeah, I think it puts them back into international competition, which is
Sweet.
great exposure for those guys to
And
have.
that's after selling 2 players
Mhm.
off, not really having an elite superstar on and that's really what they're missing. Like if they could
Right.
just go out and get like a big, I don't know what a big name is, so I don't know. I can't even speculate. But
Well,
if
I'll
they
tell
could
you,
just get like a
they've
goal
got that kid
scorer.
Aronson, who I think is 19, and he started the first playoff game. He's the brother of the other
Yeah, but he's
Aronson.
not like
But he was a
internationally
real. He
known.
seemed like he's not going to be a superstar, but I think he's going to be a really good player for this team.
Okay.
So
Great.
yeah, Dupe, go Union. If you aren't already on board, there's plenty of room on the bandwagon. They're gonna have a game this weekend. If they're at home, I'm gonna go, so don't
Yeah?
worry about that.
Yeah?
Yeah, oh yeah, if they're at
Good.
home, I'm definitely going. There's no
Good
way
for you.
I would miss it
Good for
at this
you.
point.
Go out,
So,
see Fang, the snake with arms and legs,
yeah, it makes no sense at
but
all.
spelled with a PH.
Yeah, well, I mean that makes sense, but the arms and legs
I
thing. I mean, fine, have legs, but like, you can have a mascot that doesn't have arms. You don't need arms. Have a bigger suit. Could be
I just
taller.
don't know what you could do. I don't know what you could do with
I
the
think they should
snake.
have a Ben. I think they should have, or maybe have a son of Ben. Maybe have a baby Ben. Maybe they should have a lightning bolt.
I really think that Philly teams really missed the opportunity to have Ben Franklin as a mascot.
Didn't the Sixers try that for a while?
Well, I think it was no, we talked about it on the show when they were doing their. Are we done talking about soccer now?
Yeah, we can move forward.
We talked about it when they were doing their mascot. That was my costume for soccer. When they were doing I thought it would have been badass to have like a really athletic guy dress up like Ben Franklin with the high knee socks and the belt and the buckle shoes and everything and the frilly shirt and everything. And he would just dunk, like just do like trampolines and flips and dunks and stuff with the glasses on and the wig and everything.
And that just seems like such
hat.
a more NBA-esque mascot, not a blue dog. I don't.
Yeah, it would have been badass.
The bunny was even worse, but at least the bunny was ripped.
I'm really want to make a movement. Like we got to get Ben Franklin as a mascot for one of these. Anyway, I mean the Union kind of do the thing with the lightning bolts and the keys and everything. Like they could. There's a window of opportunity for Ben Franklin to be in.
I do appreciate the Union really do embrace a lot of the historical Philadelphia iconography. They have the lightning bolt, the key, the Sons of Ben is the fan group. And it's also sort of fun that group has been in longer existence than the team itself. That they've had, this was a team that had a fan base before the team existed, which I always think is a very Philadelphia thing. But we don't have a WNBA
we love a boxer that never existed.
Yeah. What else do we need to do, WNBA, to prove that we can support anything?
A WNBA team would be so awesome in Philly.
I would love to have a WNBA team.
It'd be such like a fun night out. Anyway. All right.
Put it in Delaware. We have the space. Put it in Delaware. I'll go support it.
23 minutes into the show, the Eagles lose to the Giants in really one of the worst football games you'll ever want to watch. I can't imagine being like a national fan and having to sit through a game like that.
You wouldn't have. You would have.
I know you wouldn't have, but like
Red Zone didn't even check in on that game. Probably Red Zone was like, it's happening over there, but we're not. They're in the red zone, but trust me, you don't want to see it.
Look, you're coming into the Meadowlands, not the Meadowlands, MetLife Arena, MetLife Stadium, and you're facing a Giants team that's 30th against the rush. You got to think you're going to win that game.
That was number 1 against the rush.
You got to think you're going to win that game.
You've got Miles Sanders back.
You really have not. Like, to me, it's inexcusable to lose that game. It's just, I get bad games happen, but you could have had a really bad game and still won that one.
Right. That's the problem. Is they didn't have just a bad game. They just didn't even get off the bus. In fact, getting off the bus was their first mistake. They should have
every single person on the team was like, fuck this, let's lose this game.
Yeah.
I mean,
it felt like they were actively trying to beat themselves.
Jalen Hurts, 3 interceptions.
In his best
Boston Scott,
I think I've ever seen.
Boston Scott, a terrible fumble. The game plan, I mean, they ran the ball quite a bit. I mean, you really can't complain. You can't say they got away from
over 200 yards. The problem was, why didn't they start that earlier when they maybe wouldn't have put themselves in a position to be down the way that they were? I don't understand why it took them to basically the second half of the second quarter or third quarter before they really started to commit to the run. Your strength is your offensive line and your running back core. That is the strength of your offense. Jalen Hurts is not a pass-first quarterback.
I just think that we have to, I'm trying to recalibrate. This is my third Eagles recalibration from when we started the season.
Well, see, in my case, it was they were doing what I expected. I started to listen too much to the hype and believe that they were a lot worse than I had already expected. And then now I'm looking at it like, Christ, maybe they are that bad.
Well, we've always tried to keep it in perspective. And we talked about the beginning of the season. We said, okay, they're better than 6 wins. They're like maybe a 7-win, 8-win team. They started out with a really tough stretch to start the season. I mean, a really tough schedule to start. I mean, the Eagles had the easiest schedule going into the season, but a really tough stretch at the start of the season, playing elite level quarterbacks, and
week after
and
week
it
after week.
showed, and it showed, and plus it was before the team themselves watered the garden or whatever and found their
Yeah.
identity, and they fertilized the plants and all that.
And honestly, it was more about the coach finally understanding the personnel that he had and
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
best put his team and offense in a position to win. And when you're at practice or whatever, it's the preseason, and you
yeah,
draw up these great plays that you think are just going to fool everybody, or you think
yeah.
your owner is telling you from on high, I want 350 yards and 3 touchdowns passing
Right.
every week because that's the kind of football that I like to watch. I mean, but you've got an offensive line that is built to crush. It's literally built to destroy teams in front of it. It's way more effective moving forward than moving backwards. All of the deficiencies in that offensive line are all in pass coverage. So you need to put them moving forward. There are these big mountains of dudes that just take pleasure in destroying the guys in front of them. And once you committed to doing that, you saw the results.
Yeah. So we went through that tough stretch. They kind of got it figured out a little bit. And now it's the opposite. It's the opposite effect. Now it's saying, okay, these are teams that we should be beating, but you're still not good. So I think we said last week, it's like, well, you're not going to run the table. You're not going to win all these games and then play Dallas. It's just not, the team is not built to say like, okay, we'll rip off 6 wins in a row, even against inferior opponents. That's just not going to happen. So, I mean, I didn't see it coming this week though,
Are you maybe the optimist view here is I would have rather there's something to be taken away when you've gotten your sort of pantsed this way that the coach can sort of say we're not going to let that happen again. You've all been embarrassed now, so you all need to commit to doing your job and performing for the rest of the season. There is no longer any leeway. There's no fudging, nothing. If you want to have the kind of
or
success that
what,
you want this season, that you
or
want to be a playoff team, well, now the chips are in. The
like,
bet
or
has been
what
made.
though, Gene? Like, or what? Like, you're
Well,
gonna
or
play better,
nothing,
or
or
what?
nothing. I mean, these are the sorts of things that you just, that these guys need to motivate themselves. We know that there's very little consequences to this season, to be honest. I don't think that the quarterback is in danger of losing his job. I don't think that the coach is in danger of losing his job. I don't think that there's going to be any major changes to that sort of dynamic.
I'm starting to lean towards Jalen Hurts might not be the quarterback next year.
What do you think the alternate plan is?
Well, draft, but
Oh, you think that the Eagles are going to use one of these 3 draft picks in
yeah,
the first
yeah,
round?
yeah, yeah. And I mean, Hurts may be the quarterback to start the season next year. I don't know, but the reason why I'm saying that is I've been thinking more and more and more about this, like, run the ball offense, which is
Yeah,
great. I
yeah.
love a run. I mean, we talked about how much I love a running game, but basically what we're saying is like the team is better when Jalen Hurts just hands off the ball.
Right.
Right. So is it like you're such a great running team, or is it we need to keep the ball out of the hands of a quarterback that kind of can't do it?
I don't know if it's necessarily that he can't do it. I think that he's just more effective when you've got when he's playing against a defense that's committed to putting 8 guys in the box that are bearing
Yeah,
down to
but
stop the running back.
when it's you gotta make a throw, when it's you gotta make this happen. I mean, maybe it's just not just Jalen Hurts. Maybe it's Jalen Hurts and the skill position receivers that I'm talking about here. It's like Jalen Hurts is just the first number in that equation that at the end of it equals incomplete or equals interception or equals failed attempt, because it's, Jalen Hurts plus, okay, and you cross out Devontae Smith because the people are erasing him. So it's like Jalen Hurts plus Jalen Reagor, Jalen Hurts plus Quez Watkins, Jalen Hurts plus JJ Arcega-Whiteside, Jalen Hurts plus Dallas Goedert at times. This is just not working.
Well, I mean, let's just
plus Greg Ward Jr.
Right.
Where do you go? Okay, so maybe Hurts isn't the problem, but the other half is the problem. But no matter what, it's the passing game that's the problem.
And I think maybe to your point, if you sort of look in a vacuum, in a bubble, just at the final play on offense from this week. So Nick Sirianni was asked specifically at the press conference to talk about the play design or the play call on that last play.
And what did he say?
He said, we run a shallow cross play where Devontae was the first read on the play. As a matter of fact, on that play, it's Devontae as 1A, and you could call Dallas Goedert 1B. The defense that they played eliminated the 1B read of Dallas and put it onto Devontae. We didn't do a great job executing the route and the route discipline out of that play with Devontae and Quez, but it turned into a scramble, and we got an open look. Jalen Hurts made a good throw. Like I said, we want to just be able to finish that play off. Again, no one wants to make that play more than Jalen Reagor. It never comes down to one play. We put ourselves in that position where it came down to the last play, where I know all the eyes were on Jalen Reagor. All the criticism will be on him. But this is the ultimate team game, and there are a lot of other things that led to us coming down to that last play.
Okay. One, I like that you call it route instead of route.
Oh.
Two, God, I don't know. It's hard to, like, part of me is like, well, why are you throwing it to Reagor? So Sirianni saying, I didn't call a play where it was designed to go to Reagor. And then he's saying, and it's not Hurts' fault because the two primary receivers were erased.
Well, what he's saying is, to some degree, but what he's also saying is that they erased Goedert, which meant the play really should have gone to Devontae Smith. But something in either there's a crossing route in there, because he calls out Quez Watkins in that same sentence where he says that the route discipline between Quez and Devontae didn't open up. So either the timing was off, that Devontae Smith wasn't where he needed to be, and it resulted in it taking too much time. Hurts was in a scramble. That's why
I don't give a shit. You lost by what did they lose by? 6 points?
Yeah.
You lost by 6 points. You had 4 turnovers.
That's why you lost the game.
Fucking noise. All that shit is just noise. You had 4 turnovers. Like, look, dumbass. Why are you throwing the ball up for grabs with no time left at the end of the half when you're in the red zone?
Why aren't you taking a field goal there at least?
No, seriously, dumbass. Why are you doing that?
I don't know.
Because the score at that time was what?
3-0.
Yeah. I mean, you could have gone into the half tied.
Which is essentially nothing.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like,
you're
cannot
walk
down,
away.
You're down a field goal. That is not a problem.
But this is the thing that we were praising early in the season, because we were coming off of, like, Carson Wentz. And now having a quarterback that was being responsible, not playing hero ball, not trying to force stuff in at the wrong time, not trying to make a play that wasn't there. There was nothing available there. So why don't you just do the right thing, throw the ball away, and let us kick a field goal? Oh, because where would you be at the end of this game? You'd be kicking a field goal to tie it and send it into overtime.
Exactly.
At the very least, after all of that crap that went down in that game.
You're also you're going into halftime having just put points on the board instead of going in giving up a turnover. There is something to be said for momentum. And the Giants there keeping us off the board from the two.
This is what I mean. Like it's getting worse, not better. The decision making is getting worse.
The decision making had been getting better, and for some reason, it's like they went into this game and they said, "What are the things that we're doing well? Okay, let's not do any of those things and go back to doing the shit that got us into trouble."
Defense,
and it doesn't make any sense. A tiger shouldn't change his stripes. Rocky beat Apollo because he kept going to the body.
Well,
he didn't get to the last round and start being like, I'm just going to start slugging him in the head.
Stop it. Do you watch the Stallone director's cut yet?
No. Where is it available? Because I want to watch it.
I think it's out I think it got released like a few weeks ago.
I could just go and pick it up at my local Best Buy. What is different about it? Is it just the?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen some reviews online, but I haven't watched them because I don't want it to be spoiled.
Like good stuff.
No, I mean I don't know. I don't want it to be spoiled for me. I mean maybe Drago wins. And the director cut Soviet Union wins.
I don't know. Maybe I need to. I'm not. No, what is that? Why it switched to Rambo director's cut?
Did Stallone actually direct Rocky IV? I didn't know that.
Well, it came out in November. No, that's when the movie came out. Oh my god! All right, whatever. I can't get into this right now. You brought up Rocky, and it like totally derailed me. What's the next Rocky movie that's going to come out? You think
it's going to be Creed 3, baby?
Are they doing Creed 3?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, this time they fight on Mars. Now, Michael B. Jordan did say that he wants to do Creed 3.
You have to fight the alien champion.
Yeah.
The Mars champion.
It's they team up.
Yeah. It's Marvin the Martian. You have to box Marvin the Martian. Okay. I don't know.
So what do you think
So who we got this week? Jets?
Jets, Jets.
So the Jets are better against the run than the Giants are.
Yep. But the Jets have just a terrible quarterback situation. And the one thing that the Eagles feast on is bad quarterbacks. I don't know why they didn't feast on Daniel Jones.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Do you think that the Washington football team has any chance to win this division?
No.
They're in second place and in a playoff.
I know where they are. Night. I mean, the Cowboys are winning the division. Like, stop, Gene.
I mean, if the Cowboys, they keep losing. They've lost 3 or 4.
Well,
they can't figure out how to win.
They got problems. But this is the worst division of football, man. Like, you can have a lot of problems and still win this division.
Yeah.
They have the best quarterback.
It's the worst division of football and still better than last year somehow.
They're the best quarterback in the division. They
by a lot
have the best 2 receivers in the division.
In the division.
What's that?
They have the best offense in the division.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna win. They're gonna win. I mean, I'm not worried. Look, it is what it is. What are you gonna do? I mean, it would be funny if they didn't. Would you rather see the Redskins win than the Cowboys?
Only because that means that Dallas has to go through some sort of epic collapse, which I will always enjoy.
Sure.
All right. I just don't want this Washington situation where they are a nameless team to continue. I don't want them to think that if they keep winning divisions without a name, that they can just. That's always going to be my problem with them until they get a name. I don't want
I'm coming around. I'm coming around a football team.
They keep winning the division without a name that they should just continue. You need a name.
What are those?
Football team is not a name.
What are those things you always see them at? those jars that just say like what they are. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a it's like a specific one of my people I work with told me she loves them. So it's just like a white jar and it just says like coffee and you put like
Right.
coffee beans in it, or you have like a jar on your desk that says like pens and you just have pens in it. Like it just
Right.
literally names the thing that it is.
Or you have a
It's like
jersey that just says jersey, or a
so
hat that
it's
just
like
says hat.
football team.
Yeah.
It's like that's what we are. We're a football team.
Yeah, we are football team.
I like it. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of growing on me. Like there's just the kind of simplicity of it. It's like we're a football team.
I mean, they could be
Bothers
the
me.
burgundy. I don't care. Like, call
Football team.
yourselves a
No, they're
color. We have the
see, don't
Cleveland
confuse
Browns. You
them.
can be
They're
the
football
Washington
team.
Burgundy. I don't
We are
care.
football team. We're Washington
Something.
football team.
They should be the Warhogs because they have like a fan base that dresses up as female pigs.
I don't know, man. I just the football team is where it's at.
All right.
I'm down with football team. Okay. You want to talk about hot stove for a little bit before we wrap?
Yes.
Oh, wait, hold on one second,
This
real
might
quick.
be the only chance we get if the labor thing
I
happens.
know it's just like 3 days left, 2 days left. Real quick, Flyers did not play tonight.
Yeah, because of COVID.
Yeah, the Islanders had a COVID outbreak, so the game is postponed.
How come when the Sixers have a COVID outbreak or when the Flyers have a COVID outbreak, they're still expected to play? But
I
when
don't
the
know.
Islanders
This is
have a
what
COVID
this is
outbreak,
like
we don't
annoys
play.
me. This is what's annoying me. It's like you got an AHL affiliate, call some people up and play the damn hockey game.
Yeah,
This
the Nationals had to play essentially a
Have we-
AA team for like 2 weeks.
Have we gone over this before on this show? What this is?
No, what is that? Oh, it's your time for bed alarm.
No. That's not what that is. So so when it's between Thanksgiving and Christmas, this alarm goes off at 10 o'clock every night because it's the
Time to make the move.
yeah, you got to move the elf on the shelf. And that's this it's going to go off every show basically.
So you're still moving the elf, huh?
Well, I got a little one. The older one.
I guess I thought that he had come to the threshold and was of age.
No,
now.
not the young. The older one has, but not the younger one. Yeah.
Well, hey, God bless.
Look, you gotta keep the magic. You gotta keep the magic alive. Oh, Sarah.
I wish I still believed.
Sarah knew. Sarah remembered.
Of course, Sarah knew. Sarah's got a better memory than you and I combined.
That's true.
She heard. She saw the we're talking hockey alarm go off. That's why she knew to check in.
That's what it was. Yeah, I just think it's like ridiculous that teams are still getting like some teams get a pass for this stuff and some teams don't get a pass for it. Like
I think it's ridiculous that professional athletes, professional teams are not like fully vaccinated, and that these outbreaks aren't happening.
Look.
Am I being too controversial, or is Big Bird going to boycott me?
There was COVID incident at my Thanksgiving dinner this week.
Did the turkey have COVID?
Turkey had COVID. My family, all vaccinated. I got the rooster booster. No one has COVID. It's all, I don't know.
You didn't have any symptoms, nothing, nobody, everybody good?
No, my family, all vaccinated. We're fine.
This is what I'm saying.
COVID was in my domicile.
Right. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so on to the Phillies. Big move this week.
You mean cutting Roman Quinn?
You want to talk about yeah, we avoided arbitration with Sir Anthony Dominguez.
Yeah, woohoo!
Well,
is he even healthy?
Yeah, he's gonna play. So, all right. A lot of players are coming off the board. A lot of players are coming off the board. A lot of players are signing big contracts. December 2nd, potential lockout starts. No free agency can happen.
So basically,
while
these guys are getting in while they
until there's
can
an
before the
agreement.
rules might change.
Yeah, basically that's what it is. Trying to get big money before who knows what's going to happen. Salary cap, salary floor. What we
We
don't know
don't
what's
know.
going to happen. Um,
That's why I'm glad we
but
signed JT when we did.
well, a lot of teams are going crazy, right? Like a team like the Mets feel a lot of pressure to make splashes. A lot of stuff they tried last year
Didn't work.
didn't work. And they spent a lot of money this offseason for some old dudes.
And they're going to have those guys for a long time.
Well, the Scherzer deal is what, 3 years?
Oh, see, I thought it was 5. But
Uh,
but Scherzer's already what? He's what, 35? 36?
yeah, well, it's 3. He'll go to 39, I think,
Okay.
under this deal. I don't know. To me, it feels like I don't know. To
How
me,
many more
it
years like
feels
last
really
year is Scherzer got in him?
well. He might have 3 years, but he certainly didn't look like he had much gas left in the tank in the postseason.
Right.
To me, I don't know. I'm not getting hype about Scherzer going off the board, Starling Marte going off the board, Mark Canha going off the board. Yeah, these were center field options. Buxton stayed with the Twins.
I never thought that Buxton was going to be available.
I mean, look, the guy's he hasn't played a 100-game season.
And he was restricted. He was not even a real free agent.
I get we have the need. But it's got to be the right fit. It can't just be like
some other guy.
It can't be anybody.
We've dealt with anybody. We had a whole cast of anybody.
Thanks, Steven. Power pitcher, Mets medical staff, 38-year-old this year. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, look what they did to Syndergaard. Look what they did to DeGrom. Look what they did to Harvey.
All these guys have gone on to have better years outside of that organization.
I mean, and Mets are going to Met, right? Like, that's what we always say. And it's just like, I actually feel like Scherzer signing there signifies the end of his career. But, maybe.
And honestly, a guy like Scherzer, it's not that, maybe this is a strange way to sort of look at it. Like, Scherzer is not a commodity we haven't been already dealing with. We already have been dealing with him out of Washington. This is not some new phenomenon that we haven't had to deal with having to see Max Scherzer. We've had games where we've hit against Max Scherzer. So,
and I don't want to make this about like, oh my gosh, I'm so like worried about the Mets. We're going to spend 15 minutes talking about the Mets, but I'm not stressed out about, they still have no offense.
No,
their offense is still terrible. Look,
they literally
kind of hit like 230 last year, so I'm not worried about
a fastball. That's what the Mets offense was in July. It was a team that was unable to hit a fastball.
Right. They're going to have their moments, but ultimately they're just not going to put up the run support. Like, how many games did DeGrom lose where he gave up 1 run?
Right. Because their best offensive piece hits like, what, 230? 214?
Yeah. I mean, and Scherzer's used to pitching for a pretty stacked Nationals team, pretty stacked Dodgers team. It's just going to be a different story in New York, where you're really going to be under a lot of pressure for most of the innings that you pitch.
Yeah, Scherzer and DeGrom are going to give up very few runs, and they're going to lose a lot of games.
All right, so enough about the Mets. Let's talk about what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do.
Wait, before we talk about what we're going to do,
yeah,
are you really as broken up as everybody else is about losing Hector Neris?
A little bit.
Really? I'm surprised.
A little bit. I felt like he was used effectively down the stretch. We finally found like a home for him in like 7th or 8th inning, probably more preferably in the 7th inning. I felt like he fell into a groove, and like if he wasn't on this team for all those years, let's say he was a Kansas City Royal with his same numbers, and he became a free agent this year,
we'd be excited to buy him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my only thing is, if you don't have him on the team, you're not tempted to have him close games.
Well, you could do worse, maybe.
Well, and we did.
Um, so I don't. Am I broken up about it? A little bit. You're not. You're like, see ya.
I didn't expect him to resign. I just didn't see the Philly. I knew that he was going to get paid, and I just didn't think the Phillies were going to want to pay. I think that the Phillies believe they can do better, and I'm hopeful that the Phillies can do better. I think the Phillies need to spend that money on a real closer, is what I'm saying.
Well, we need a closer. Knubel is the talk.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah. So here's what we're gonna do. Kniebel. Is it Kniebel? Kniebel?
I thought it was Knubel, but
Kniebel. Here's what we're gonna
find out when T-Mac has to start saying his name.
Yeah. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get a corner outfielder. Okay. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get a corner outfielder. They got their eye on Schwarber and
Love that.
Castellanos, right?
Love both of those guys.
I love both of them too. I would like Schwarber only because it adds a left-handed bat that sort of extends that meat of the order. It gives you Harper and Schwarber from the left, and you have Hoskins and Realmuto from the right.
Gives you a really solid middle of the lineup.
But either way, I think both of them are a huge addition. Castellanos he just rakes.
I think either one of them can play left field too.
Yeah, I think that move is something that can happen. And Schwarber's interesting too because he bats leadoff so much, and we really don't have a leadoff hitter. He just mashes in the leadoff for some reason, and
and if we do that, are you okay with sort of an Adam Hazley or a Mickey Moniak or a whatever comes out of training camp guy at center?
So no, it could be Hazley. I don't know what his situation is now, but the interesting thing is the potential trade for Kiermaier.
What
have you heard about that?
Do they want a catcher? We got a lot of those.
Well, to pull off some of these moves, you're gonna, you at least one trade is gonna have to happen. And then Knebel a closer, and that's an off season that I can kind of say, okay, we filled in not every hole, but you replaced / upgraded McCutchen. You found a solution for center field, and you address the closer situation. And that's something I could say, okay, we didn't solve third base, shortstop, what that's going to do.
If we have what's his name come up from the minors and he can play a better, if we have Stott come up from the minors and play a better defensive shortstop,
because at the end of the day, somebody from the farm system needs to come up and be a piece. It just has to happen. It's just it just can't work without at least something from the farm system turning out to work.
And right now, what we really need is defensive infielders. We need good defensive infielders.
Purple Hazley to get one final shot.
Steve killing it tonight, man.
Yeah. So, that's what my hope is for the Phillies. That's what I think is going to happen. But time is a ticking. They got 2 days to make this happen, or else who knows when it's going to. These free agents, too, probably want to get in, but I think it's going to be crazy the next 2 days. I think tomorrow is probably going to be wild, even more wild than, what we've seen so far. But I want to go back to
a lot of guys that want to get in under the wire and know that they are under contract before you go into the great unknown.
Yeah, I want to go into agree with Steven. The Braves are still the team to chase down, not the Mets.
Absolutely.
Obviously they're the World Series champs. they're going to get
They're the
even
World Series champs that are
stronger
going to get
next
people
year.
better. They're getting people back. They're
Well,
going to be better.
so Freeman is still yet to be determined. He's a free agent.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see what happens there. I would think he's likely to resign. Oh, I haven't seen this yet. Freeman might from Slinexy. Yeah, good news for Phillies fans. Freeman might go to the Blue Jays. I haven't seen that one yet, but if that happens, that would be
Yeah,
interesting.
I'll drive him to Toronto if
Where's
that's what he needs.
Where's Vlad gonna play?
Well, that's a problem I'd like to have if I am.
I mean, I guess he'd be
Toronto.
DH.
Well, that's
But
the
it
other
seems
thing is
pretty
if you go
young
to an
for him to
AL
be a
team,
DH.
you don't have to play every day.
Yeah, it seems young to move him to DH, but or maybe Freeman could be the DH. I don't know.
It's not to say that they won't just rotate which one plays first base every night.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
again,
Freeman's a better defensive first baseman than.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, getting Acuna back is, I mean, like the biggest free agent signing the Braves could have after coming off of a World Series and
I mean,
a World
he's
Series
probably the best player. I mean, arguably at least the best player in baseball. Certainly top 5.
I mean, Austin Riley, you have to think is going to be an MVP candidate entering into the season, coming off of the year he had last year. They're just they're just a difficult team to deal with because they're built correctly through both free agents, trades, and farm system and international scouting, and that's it's a bitch, man, to deal with. Teams that are built correctly like that, they tend to last and hang around for a while. I guess just ask every team in the Central Division what they think of the Cardinals.
You really wish that they would make those sorts of mistakes.
I mean, the Mets are kind of like us. They like fuck around and then they like try to spend a bunch of money and then they miss and it just doesn't work out. But who knows? I mean, the other good thing is like, the Nationals should be really terrible next year again. So we'll have the Marlins and the Nationals being really bad. It could help our wild card chances.
So, I mean, we're 2 days out. I don't know if I think you heard some of the reports that apparently was it today's meeting about the labor situation was under 30 minutes. In and out real
Nightingale, fast. Bob Nightingale reported something like, the labor meeting only lasted 30 minutes today. Not a good sign.
And what is your take on that? I mean, we've all watched these sorts of situations for a long time. We all remember the various hockey lockouts, NBA lockouts, the labor situations with baseball that's been sort of going on our entire lives. Do you think that a quick meeting today certainly bodes poorly for the chances that this gets resolved soon? Do you see it stretching out into the season? Like, put on your prognosticator's hat, and where do you see this? Where do you see this all shaking out?
Yeah,
I mean, something has to happen. Baseball is broken. We know this, but what is it that they're going to be able to do and get past and come to some sort of agreement on? It seems like it's an impossible thing to agree upon.
What did a friend of the pod, Tim, tell us earlier today? Like Max Scherzer's contract, like Max Scherzer's going to earn more than like 3 small market teams.
Yeah,
entire
certainly
payrolls.
More than the Pirates, who I think don't spend over $50 million.
So, yeah.
Look, because I mean, the philosophy is if you're going to be bad, you might as well be bad and not spend money. What is the point in being bad and spending $110 million?
The players need to get a floor put in.
I agree with that.
As a fan, I would like a floor put in because it'll just make these teams more competitive. I mean, to have these divisional doormats that are still getting money from revenue sharing luxury taxes and things like that is absolutely egregious that they're not being cycled back into their team to try to create a more competitive balance.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's going to be a hard cap at the top, then there has to be
Well, I don't know that there will be a hard cap at the top, to be honest.
It seems to me that the luxury tax is sort of enough, in my opinion.
The
The only
teams need to be
teams that really
forced
go
to use
over
it,
it are
though.
teams that
Like,
are trying truly to win that year.
I mean, you should
Well,
have like
again,
an $80 million, $70 million floor, something like that. And any money that you get from luxury tax, you have to spend it on the team.
right.
I don't know. I'm not going to claim to know the ins and outs of all this stuff. To me, it sounds bad. It sounds bad that the meeting was only I don't know, a half hour. Maybe it's kind of a long time though, too. It could be like, okay, well, maybe the meeting was, let's start off like what do we want? Like
Right.
where the players say, okay, we want a cap and and a
Do you
floor.
really think the players want a cap?
No, well, no. The players might say, okay, we want a floor, and then the owners say, okay,
Sure.
we want a cap, and then it goes, you know.
Do you think that there's also any of these?
I'll settle for robot umps over a damn cap.
And that was my other question: is do you think that there is some
Maybe that's part of it too?
Competitive issues that are going to come into play here? They've already didn't they already scrap the idea of that second base in overtime in extra innings? Didn't that already go back to the cutting floor?
Well,
cutting room floor?
I mean, that is done. That is done. Like,
see, I had just gotten used to that.
I mean, maybe the players are like, "Hey, we want a DH in the National League." There's all kinds of stuff that they could just say, "Okay, well, now that we know where each side is coming from, we'll go back and work up a proposal." Like, you don't know what happened in the meeting. It doesn't. I don't know what the tenor of this not good sign is. I mean, they're not going to walk out of a half-hour meeting with a deal.
No.
Or they're not going to walk out of the first meeting with a deal, and they're not even going to, in the first meeting, you're not going to compromise your position in a negotiation anyway. So,
right. And to a certain degree, you don't need to compromise your position this year.
There's going to be a time. Yeah, there's going to be a period of time after December 2nd where there is not a collective bargaining agreement. It doesn't mean that they're on strike yet. When things start creeping into February, okay, now we gotta worry about some stuff because, the season's going to be delayed, or the season could be delayed because of, spring training being, it could be players that aren't signed, so there may need to be a signing window or something opened up.
But I think that's why you're seeing the frenzy that you
are. I'm not panicking yet.
There are some guys that just don't like the uncertainty of, what if I can't sign, this year?
Look, let me just say one goddamn thing to Major League Baseball. I had tickets for Phillies Angels in 2020, and COVID trashed that. I have Phillies Angels tickets for 2022. There better be a damn season, and those games better be played because I need.
My
to
God,
see
Dave wants to see Mike Trout and Shohei. He needs to be able to do it.
All my kids want is to see Shohei and Mike Trout. And if not, I'm going to Baltimore or something to go see them play.
Thankfully, there's at least some driving distance to American League places that we can sort of make that happen.
No.
I don't know. I mean, and I've told this. I think I've said this on the pod before. One of my both best and worst sports memories are all sort of tied up in the same thing. One of the best seats I ever had at a baseball game as a kid was that game in 1994. I believe it was against the Padres, or maybe it was against the Dodgers. And I remember walking out of the stadium, out of the vet, after a Phillies win.
One of the
and the
few
season
they
was
got
over.
that year.
The season was over. The
You went
Expos
to the
would have won
last
the World
game?
Series. Ken Griffey Jr. would have broke the single season home run record.
Stop.
Somebody else was in line to bat 400. All of that never happened.
I love how we seriously romanticize about the 1994 season, like what could have been. It was like, it's the Expos, we're gonna win the World Series.
The only thing that was great was that the Phillies got to be the reigning NL champs for an extra year.
On that note, we will remain the reigning podcast champs for yet another week until we're back next Tuesday after we get to recap a weekend where see what the Union do in their Eastern Conference Finals. We'll see what the Eagles do against the mighty Jets. Oh, by the way, those games overlap. Are you going to stick with the Birds? Or are you switching over to the? You might be at the Union game.
If the Union are playing in Philadelphia, I'll be in Chester. So
I'm trying to think
somebody
what
will
I'll
just
do.
update me on how Eagles Jets goes.
I might wind up just recording the end of that Eagles game and just switch over and watch the Union.
I'm hoping that the Eagles have already put the Jets in a body bag.
That's not going to be the case, dude. So
No,
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Honestly, I am fully committed to the Union run.
I know you are, man. I love it.
I'll be there at kickoff. So
are you gonna sign up and be a like son of Ben?
I don't know. I think I just sort of like being, me right now. I don't know that I'm ready. I don't know that I'm quite ready to commit to any sort of relationship.
Well, I'll
That
go in
seems
on
like
that crap with you. If you want to make a commitment to the Union, I'll go in on that with you.
Yeah, I definitely think that we should take a pod field trip and go to a Union game collectively next year. It's so much fun.
Union.
And
right.
yeah, and you've taken your boys down. They like it, right?
Yeah, it's good family fun.
Yeah, we can all go. There's not a bad.
As long as you're not on that river end, you're good family fun territory.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that, but.
Yeah, and we'll have we'll know what the Phillies will have done by next Tuesday also. So yeah, should be a good hootenanny time. So we'll be back next Tuesday, and this is your weekly reminder. If you haven't done so already, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. Also, check us out on social media: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search Podadelphia. If you have any more time in your podcast listening day, be sure to check out the whip around for all the week's weird news. And also be sure to check out the Painted Lines on YouTube for wall-to-wall Philly sports coverage. And also check out the Philly Sports Alliance on Facebook for yet even more Philly sports coverage. Until we meet again, have a great day at work, everybody. We are out of here.